how to learn new skills in the pharma industry. That is my good part of my career in terms of what you need, what the organization need, and aligning with the objective of the organization and being very successful.
Company who is like foreign based, okay, versus an India based, because I think you have worked with both of them. So is there any culture difference?
The organization cultures are defined by the managers up. So 1-level manager, a 2-level manager, a 5-level manager. How he creates a impression or a specific objective towards the people of any organization matters the most. Every day when I get up, I think about the people under me. They are relying on me for their future. If you have that kind of a mindset, so half of your problems are done.
Hello everyone, welcome in the another episode of Leaders of Pharma powered by Game of Pharma. And today we have with us a very special guest, Chandrasekaran and sir. Welcome on the show, sir.
Good afternoon, welcome.
So sir, just tell us about your journey. I just want to understand like how you have, like you mentioned years, I think 30 years maybe, right?
38 years.
38 years in the pharma and I'm just 25 years old, right? I just want to understand like how was this journey and then how you have started. Now you are at NATCO, like what's your department? So yeah, all those stuff.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. So way back in 1988, I started my career soon after my graduation of BSc Chemistry.
Okay.
A Chennai-based company called Foods India.
Okay.
It was just one day after my exams, I traveled to Chennai from my native village, which is in Salem district, Abhinav. So I ended up meeting my family uncle, was my mother's elder sister's husband. We call it his Periappa. So he was just telling me what you're going to do. So I said I'm interested to take up a job, and later I will study to equip myself in masters. So that I attended an interview with a company called Foods India. So got selected as a medical rep. That's the way my career started. Is on 3rd June 1988 I joined there. So from there now to almost now completing 38 years in June 3, 2026. It has been very phenomenal in terms of my equipping a lot of skills as a salesperson I started. Now, initially I was in an upcountry market called Salem. Then I was promoting all the generic brands I understood. And thanks to the first company, have trained me in selling skills, in product knowledge, in communication, and how to promote products to doctors in terms of detailing everything. So that was around 2.5 years I learned the job. Then I moved to Ex-Sandoz, which is a multinational company. And in 1991, I joined Ex-Sandoz. And my journey to Ex-Sandoz, which became Novartis in 1996, was close to around 26-27 years. There I once again joined as an MR, then learned, upskilled my selling skills. Was put into different markets within Tamil Nadu, start with Madurai, Tanjavur, later to Chennai. So that was my important part of my journey, where now how to work in diverse markets, diverse customers, and ensure that being successful.
Right.
Then later I think I got promoted with 2000 as an area business manager. But immediately after that, I was given a huge responsibility of covering 4 states, from 1 district to 4 states. That was the time Novartis launched their global products in the Indian markets in diabetes and cardiovascular. So those days of selling high-priced products in Indian market was not that accepted in many of the doctors, even in the metro cities. Brands like Valsartan, Diavon, Exforge. Then in the treatment of respiratory allergic asthma, omalizumab, Xolair. Then in treatment of the derma, there is a product called a pimecrolimus in allergic, all this. So I think that is the way I learned the further level of selling, how to be very perseverant in selling your product, selecting customer types, and consistently communicate what the patient benefits are. So my journey moved from a mere selling to top selling of high priced goods with innovator molecules, and also people management. So that is where my most of the learning happens. The transformation the organization has given in terms of unlearning, learning, and how to learn new skills in the dynamic environment of pharma industry. That is my good part of my career in terms of what you need, what the organization need, and aligning with the objective of the organization and being very successful.
Great, great. I think from your experience, okay, I will ask you one of the harsh question, okay? That is like, is there any culture difference between a like company who is like foreign based, okay, versus an India based? Because I think you have worked with both of that. So is there any culture difference?
There are cultural differences, but then that does not affect the individual employee. See, every organization should have a kind of culture.
Yeah.
So, see, end of the day, organizations is if you are in sale, you have to produce numbers. Your bottom line matters.
Right.
Okay. And many organizations know they follow the ethical way of promotion.
Right.
It is not somehow you have to do a number.
Right.
It is about how you really reach the target every month. How you make, even you miss a target for a particular month or a quarter, how you make up. So that is where the managers play a vital role. See, according to me, the organization cultures are defined by the managers up.
Yeah.
So 1 level manager, a 2 level manager, a 5 level manager, how he creates a impression or a specific objective towards the people of any organization matters the most, rather than the culture of the organization itself. See, if you look at so many organizations, the sales-centric organizations, people-centric organizations, financial-centric organizations, all those are remaining in books only. But if for a salesperson who wants to rescale in her career, he needs to adopt himself. Whenever that is exactly I did when I changed from a multinational experience of more than 27 years to Indian companies. I adopted myself to the culture of that organization rather than thinking about organization culture.
Great. Great. I think that is the like focal point here. That is like adapting the culture, right? I like people also nowadays, like generation like me, who very much think about, very much go to the glass door, ambition box, research about the organization, that what is the culture. But I think more than this, I think you should go first into the company, understand the culture, and adapt that culture, adapt the positive things of those companies, right?
In this whole process, the manager, the next level managers, he's a person, or the managers manages a person who creates this culture.
Right.
See, across India, organizations have different set of managers, different set of skills and competencies.
Right.
But if you look at a particular manager, looks rather than looking a MR or a first line manager as a sales achieving person, and also look into his skill will matrix, prepare a individual development plan, listen to him, what is his aspiration and ambition in life, and whenever he do a joint work with him, around 20% of the time you spend about his personal development, in case if you want to upskill himself in some of the specific areas of sales and marketing, or if he's interested to move to product management, or he interested to move to logistics or supply chain. Looking at him, or is he relocatable based on his family needs and his family priorities. So those are the things a personal touch requires from that's why I said no, organization culture itself is a myth.
Right.
It is a person, the leader, who creates the culture of the organization.
Agree. So come to the next thing, okay? You mentioned about the first line managers and the manager side, right? Whenever a medical rep, like promoted to a manager side, it's a very difficult feat for him, right? I have met with some of my friends, like it's something that so previously they was very chill, okay? They were going to the field and just getting the prescribe of the brand, creating the impact for the doctors, right? And now the things have totally got different, right? They need to take care of like leaves as well. Like, hey, I'm taking the leave of today, right? Multiple things are coming up into the picture, right? So what is the delegation strategy that worked for you in terms of this whole career?
So I think the moment an MR gets promoted into a next level manager, one of the there is something called unconscious indiscipline. So you are all along you are an individual contributor.
Right.
The moment you become area manager, you think that I have become a manager, I am now managing 5 people, 6 people.
Yeah.
That kind of excitement should be there in every human being.
Right.
But then you need to observe. See, when the moment you shift your level as a manager, you need to listen to the people.
Right.
Listen to the people. So individual problems, individual challenges, and then also rather than giving instruction, you have to convert into a very collaborative approach. That is why today Generation Z or earlier generation, will not have an attention span of more than 3 to 5 minutes. So how beautifully you make your communication. In case even you want to communicate a challenge, you have to ideally communicate in a very conducive atmosphere. That is point number one. Point number two, the ability of the person who you communicate is your own subordinate. So I have a simple principle. If I have scaled up my career to the level of today, every day when I get up, I think about the people who under me. They are relying on me for their future. If you have that kind of a mindset, so your half of your problems are done. Second, there are so many people reporting to you. Their future relies on your hand. What you are going to contribute and align the same towards the organization objective. So your mindset is in that way. So you start thinking, contributing. So you are unconsciously, every communication you make towards a subordinate is going to be more positive, more collaborative, and more meaningful for a better outcome for the individual person, also for the organization and you. So that is the way we have to look at it.
Agree. And I think one of the difficulty that those guys face, right, whenever they promoted to a certain level, to certain position, right, synchronizing, okay, your personal goal with the company goals, or else instill the company's vision into the medical records or your subordinates, right? So what is the strategy that worked for you there?
So I think go little, when your communication go a little deep diving, which means that you are communicating to online. Today the world is operating on online meetings. So when you communicate in an online meeting, you may not be able to measure what kind of mental state that your employee is there. He must be listening to you through video, but his mind is somewhere. Okay, we are addressing 5-6 people.
Right.
But you should have the ability to communicate what you want to say in this particular meeting. But all of them, when they go to the field, they may not deliver the way you are expected. That is where your differences of challenges comes into you. So when you go to a real data of efforts of a MR, if you go to real data of how his whole work transformed into an outcome which is expected, you start analyzing. And then when you are analyzing and communicating, all appreciations you should do in common group. All advices, everything you should not give in front of other person. That is a whole universal.
Okay.
So when you communicate this challenge to the individual, you should understand that why, what, when, how, where. These 5 parameters, if you just, before you start communicating to the particular employee, if you think for a while, put yourself in his shoes and then start communicating, majority of the time both of us will succeed and will agree.
Agree. And I think correctly you have mentioned that if someone is sitting in the Kolkata, right, and the rep is in the tier 3 city, you don't know like what's going on in his mind. I think for a generation like me, it could be breakup, right, or if for some other person it could be a personal or family reasons. I think you should understand, you should be in the same shoes, and whatever that you can done at your best, I think you should do that as you have mentioned. And so I think that could be the thing. So thank you so much, sir, for being on this show. I think that is the something that is important for every person, because everyone wants to be the leader, but they want to take the ownership of the leader's cons, right, to becoming a leader. I think that's something that someone should understand. So thank you so much for being on this show.
Yes.
I really enjoyed the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me for this podcast. Thank you so much.